The alien king offered him riches. Instead, the human asked for his fiercest daughter. Captain Marcus Chen stood before the towering crystalline throne, his military uniform still bearing the scorch marks from the brutal campaign that had just ended. Around him, the vast throne room of the Zephyrian Palace stretched into shadows, its bioluminescent walls pulsing with an alien rhythm that matched the heartbeat of its inhabitants. King Vorthak. The Eternal rose from his seat, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of grudging respect. The massive alien's chitinous exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian, and his compound eyes reflected the human's image 1,000 times over. Behind him, his court of nobles whispered in their clicking musical language, a sound like wind chimes made of broken glass. Human warrior, Vorthak's voice resonated through the chamber, translated by the neural implant behind Chen's ear. You have done what no being in this sector believed possible. You took our most fortified world, with nothing but primitive kinetic weapons, and the audacity that seems to flow through your species' veins like liquid fire. Chen remained silent, his weathered face impassive. At 42, he had seen enough. Battles to know that victory speeches were just another kind of weapon, one meant to soften the victor for negotiations. Kepler 442b was supposed to be impregnable, the king continued, his secondary arms gesturing toward the holographic display that materialized beside his throne. The planet hung there, wounded and smoking, its defensive stations reduced to debris, fields. 10 million of our finest warriors. Orbital defense platforms that could crack moons. Energy shields that had never been breached. The human commander finally spoke, his voice cutting through the alien monarch's grandstanding like a knife through silk. Your defenses were impressive. Your warriors fought with honor. But you made one critical error. And what was that, Captain Chen? You underestimated what humans will do when they have nothing left to lose. A ripple of unease passed through the Zephyrian court. They had heard the stories, of course. How Earth's colonies had been systematically destroyed by the hegemony. How humanity had been reduced from a thriving interstellar civilization to a single world and a handful of refugee fleets. But seeing the aftermath of human desperation made manifest was another matter entirely. Vorthak's 4 eyes narrowed, studying the human with renewed interest. Indeed, your tactical innovation was unprecedented. Weaponizing your own ships as kinetic missiles, turning your soldiers into living bombs, using your dead as psychological warfare. He paused, his voice carrying a note of something that might have been admiration. Most species break under such circumstances. Humans seem to grow stronger. We adapt, Chen said simply. It's what we do. Yes, the king mused, settling back onto his throne. Which brings us to the matter of your reward. Our treaty stipulates that the victor may claim tribute from the conquered. I offer you the traditional prize, 1/10 of our sector's mineral wealth, enough rare elements to rebuild your civilization twice over. Chen's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. The court leaned forward expectantly. This was the moment every conqueror lived for, the claiming of spoils that would secure their legacy. I decline your offer, Your Majesty. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the bioluminescent walls seemed to dim in shock. Vorthak's compound eyes dilated, his translator struggling with concepts it had never encountered before. You decline? Perhaps the translation matrix is malfunctioning. You refuse wealth beyond measure. I do. Then name your price, human. What does your species value above riches? Technology? Territory? We have star charts to systems your kind has never dreamed of. Chen took a step forward, his boots echoing in the vast chamber. I want something far more valuable than any of those things, Your Majesty. Speak. I want your daughter, Princess Zarathis. If the previous silence had been absolute, This one transcended into something approaching the vacuum of space itself. Several of the Zephyrian nobles actually clicked in distress, their natural camouflage flickering as their emotional states destabilized. Vorthak rose to his full height, nearly 12 feet of alien royalty radiating disbelief and rage. "You dare ask for my heir, my firstborn, the greatest warrior princess in Zephyrian history? I do. She who has conquered 17 systems in single combat. She who has never known defeat. She who commands our finest battle fleets." The king's voice rose with each question, his bioluminescence shifting to aggressive reds and oranges. "The very same." "Impossible. She would kill you before accepting such an arrangement. She has slain suitors from a dozen species for lesser presumptions." Chen smiled for the first time since entering the throne room, and that simple human expression somehow made him more terrifying than any weapon. "Your Majesty, with all due respect, you still don't understand what you're dealing with." "Enlighten me. Your daughter didn't earn her reputation by fighting Zephyrians or Altarians or any of the other species in your hegemony. She earned it by studying human military tactics and adapting them to her own forces." Chen's smile widened. "She's been preparing for this moment since the war began. She wants to meet the species that taught her everything she knows about warfare." The king's rage flickered, replaced by something approaching comprehension. "And," Chen continued, "I'm not asking to marry her, Your Majesty. I'm asking to recruit her. Humanity needs allies who understand that sometimes the greatest victory comes not from overwhelming force, but from the willingness to sacrifice everything for what you believe in." Princess Zara Thys materialized from the shadows at the back of the throne room, her personal cloaking field deactivating with a soft shimmer. She was smaller than her father, but no less imposing, her scarred carapace telling the story of 100 battles. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of absolute authority. "Father," she said, never taking her eyes off the human captain, "I accept his proposal." King Vorthak looked between his daughter and the human who had somehow orchestrated this entire encounter, and for the first time in his 1,000-year reign, he began to laugh. "You magnificent, terrifying creatures," he said, gesturing for his guards to stand down. "Very well, Captain Chen. Take my daughter. Take my finest warships. Take whatever you need." His laughter died, replaced by something that might have been hope. "Just promise me one thing." "What's that, Your Majesty?" "When you're finished teaching the galaxy what humans are capable of, remember that the Zephyrian kingdom chose to stand with you rather than against you." Chen nodded solemnly. "We don't forget our friends, Your Majesty. Ever." As Princess Zarathis stepped forward to join him, Chen realized that he hadn't just gained an ally, he had found the key to humanity's survival, not through conquest or destruction, but through the one thing humans had always excelled at above all others: turning enemies into family, and family into an unstoppable force. The war for humanity's future was far from over. But for the first time since Earth's children had been scattered to the stars, Captain Marcus Chen allowed himself to believe they might actually win.